Hello, welcome to Grana's Garden Stories. I'm Grana, and I'm from mid-Missouri. Let's have a little coffee talk. Good morning. It's coffee time. I want to talk to you about work ethics and wearing out from working night shift and studying and taking care of your kids, and it makes you older before your time. I don't feel old in my brain. I'm not really old, but my body was taking a toll because of what I did in my lifetime. I had a good work ethic because I learned from my elders, because I was a people pleaser at first when I first got started out here in this big world. I really wanted my elders to be pleased, and maybe if I just wanted them to be pleased. And my mom had me do the dishes, and there was, whenever we had a big get together and we had a lot of cousins and a lot of aunts and uncles, and she had me run and do this and that for her, and because I was the oldest child, the oldest girl, and the oldest granddaughter of my grandmother. And so I was always expected to go do these things. And so Uncle Larry, when we stayed with him, he had us work and mowing yards and sweeping his shop and everything, and I always tried to work hard at that. And when we got done, we got to have a bag of barbecue chips or a dilly bar. I thought that was good pay. And then I've just focused a lot on the cleaning and cooking and stuff that was women's work, I guess. But and I had to take care of all the kids, all my nieces and nephews. When Aunt Cheryl died when I was 10 years old, and they had me go over to Uncle Tony's house with all the kids, and all the adults went over to Aunt Cheryl's house. And I was responsible for all those kids. I guess I was 10, and I guess there was about 10 of them. I don't know, but there's a lot of kids that I had to take care of that day. Or, I mean, it was a couple of days maybe. And so I started babysitting for my neighbor, like when I was 10 years old also. And so then I started working. Well, I got married when I was 15, and I had some trouble in school, and I just ended up getting married and getting a job at the A&W. And then I didn't get in trouble with school then, because I had a job and I was married, so they couldn't get me in trouble at school. And then that didn't work out, of course, and so I got divorced. And then I kept trying to work, and a lot of times, when I was 16, I worked in a nursing home for the first time, and I was dealing with a lot of stuff that I'd never dealt with in my life. I got to really see death and sickness and all kinds of different things, and it was night shift, and so I started working night shift. And at that time, the nurse was only making like let's see, the RN charge nurse was making $5 an hour. And I was making like $1.95 or something like that an hour. And I was a nurse aide, unskilled and untrained, but I was on the job training. And anyway, the nursing kind of stuck with me, but I worked in some other places too along the line. But I started having kids at 17 and 19, and then 20 in my 20s, so I had 4 boys. And I just thought I need to take this work more serious. And so I had gone to LPN school when I had my 3rd child. And when I got out of there, I had to work night shift. There's really, when you start off in nursing, that's about all that's open for you when you are just a regular nurse. You just got to go to night shift. And needless to say, or I don't know if that's the right word, but working nights has its toll, especially when you're a mother. Florence Nightingale, back in the day when she had nurses training, the people that could train to be nurses could not be mothers, and they could not be married. They had to be solely dedicated to nursing. And at this time in my life, when I'm going to be 62, I could understand why. We think that it's such a social status to become a nurse, and you can make lots of money, and you can have about any choice that you want. It's kind of like the military, you can go do all kinds of things, but after you get older, you can look back on it and you can say there's something wrong with our society because we're not paying attention to what's important. And there wouldn't be as many sick people if we didn't have all these problems that we have because we keep having new things, technology. And I'm sorry to be a bummer on technology and all that, but I don't think it's essentially worth it to have all that stuff if we have to pay it when we get old after a long life of work. Now, my car accident that I had came about 20 years ago, and I wasn't coping very well because I was trying to I had been trying for several years. 20 years I worked 20 years in nursing, and then I've been disabled for 20 years. And now I'm just now starting to feel better, able to physically get around. And then I have trouble in my mind because when I have too much going on, I think my brain will get overloaded and stressed out, and so I have to take it easy now. People can look at me and say whatever they want, but I'm taking care of myself because I don't want to die just because I can't even do what I used to do. That's the point. That's the really truth, I can't even do what I done. I can do like stuff that I'm used to doing around here, around my home, and I don't have anybody coming and bother or just always at me, because nursing, I always had a lot of people trying to, I just had a lot of stuff to do, and I was a good nurse. a lot of people told me that I was a good nurse. I'm not just saying that, and I studied, and and I thought when I worked at a nursing home that I needed to I might as well get a psychology degree, because there was a lot of psych coming into the nursing homes back in the 90s, in the 2000s. They had all kinds of problems in the nursing home, and so I thought, well, I need to take an administrative type courses and get me a degree in social gerontology. And all that I've done and worked and taken care of 4 sons all at the same time. And then I tried to have relationships at the same, off and on once in a while. And it just, I don't like to look at myself as a picture of what the real woman would like to be, because I'm not that vain or whatever, but I do think that I am a picture of somebody who tried to do it all, and I just couldn't do it. And to top that off, I came out of poverty, and I was trying to. And I came out of dysfunctional family, and all that was piled together. And then I worked night shift and wasn't getting enough sleep because I would be up all night working, and I worked hard. I didn't just go in there and sit. I worked hard. I physically worked hard. And I used my brain, and I used my physical. And there's a lot of things that I done every single night. Every single night. And then later on, I worked a day shift. I worked 3 Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. I worked, and I taught CNAs. But anyway, it was just, most of the time I worked nights, and I worked Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and I worked 12-hour nights, and sometimes I had to work 16-hour nights. And then playing catch-up, trying to get my sleep, and then going to soccer games and going to this game and trying to keep it out of the house and keep trying to get everything in the house. And I was doing good, but then I just wore out, and I had poor relationship skills, and I was just like I'm not dumb, but I was just like, just trying to make it, and I just couldn't. But I was just fighting for what? I don't know. Fighting for bad health. I had my accident because I was not coping right. And at that time, I wasn't paying attention to stuff like I don't know, I would have, I don't like to think that I drank a lot, but I drank occasionally to have let loose, like people say, just have a drink. And then I smoked and all that, and that didn't even seem like it was wrong back then, but now I wouldn't even do it. And to be able to have coping skills to say, no, I'm not going to do that when someone suggests you do something. And I had to give up the people pleasing, In the beginning, I was just a people pleaser, and I wanted to I was voted most sterile in my LPN class because I wanted to have everything just right. Just right. And they voted me most sterile. So that tells you how much, or it tells you what other people, how they saw me. Had to have everything just right and everything particular. But now I don't care. I don't like to have a, sloppy mess in my pathway. And I like to have everything clean, but if it's not, it's not. It's just the way it is nowadays. I accept that I'm not perfect and I got to sleep nights. I can't stand it when I can't sleep at night. And I'm still trying to get my body to do what it has to do. My gut, when you work nights, it's terrible on your gut. There's nutritionist Peter Osborne. He's a very good nutritionist that gives good lectures on the. I listen to him, and he gives some far out. And he told me, I think he's talking to me, but he's talking to everybody. But he talks about B1, thiamine. And there's berry today in our society, but they think that that back in the early 30s or something like that we solved the berry. We don't, because we put thiamine in our grains and stuff, and that's not true, because you lose B1 when you have things like staying up all night, not eating right, and eating sugars and eating processed foods and stuff like that, obesity and all this kind of stuff, and stress, and it just it makes you lose B1, and then you become deficient and have the berry, the same thing that you would have. There's something else that's called it. There's two different kinds of, I think, but B1 thiamine deficiency. And when I had my stroke, I decided that was one thing to focus on. So that's why I ate pork. Pork is the number one thing that has B1 in it. And then, but I had other problems, I had a lot of problems, but I'm not going to make this talk very long. I wanted to get started on it, and later on I'll say more, because my mind is on the cold and the things that I have to do tonight to get. Yesterday I picked a lot of things in the yard, and I'm trying to take care of my house and all that right now. So anyway, you have fun watching the rest of my video. Thank you. Homemade and homegrown. These are the sourdough egg noodles that I posted about. I think I posted something about in my post. But it just takes 1 cup of sourdough starter and 3 cups of your flour and 4 eggs, and you put it in your the thing that goes with the KitchenAid thing with the dough hook on it. That's what and then you just mix it up for about 10 minutes, and you got your dough, and then you let it set. And I did the long fermentation, and I let it set for pretty much over 12 hours or something like that. And then these have been in the refrigerator for a couple days till I could get it to roll them out. And today I'm rolling them out. And I'll just show you a little bit how I cut them. So I got this rolled out, and then I just fold it, and I make sure there's enough flour on it so they don't stick as much. And then I just take a knife and just cut it. And this really reminds me of my mother, because she used to make egg noodles. She didn't do sourdough like I'm doing, but I'm doing sourdough because it eats the sugar and makes it less I mean, there's still gluten in it, but it breaks it down. So that's good for me because of my gut. So anyway, these are the noodles, and I put them over here to dry just like my mom did on a towel. And then I've already done one batch or 2 batches. I've cooked them up and they're really good, but I just wanted to show you that this is how I make them, and then I let them dry forever. I mean, for however long I want, and I'll let you know more later. Well, this is the rest of my sweet potatoes. I had 2 large ones that I ate already, and then these are the ones that I had that I just harvested because of the freeze that came, the freeze the other night. But it's not very much, but it is homegrown, and I love it. And that I just tried out those hay or straw bales to see if they could grow them, and I'll probably try again just for the experience. Thank you. Well, I got one little watermelon out of that deal out there, and it was it's ripe. I'll just take a little bite and I'll tell you how it was here in a minute. It's good enough to eat. It's sweet, and it tastes good. And maybe next year I'll have even more. I know I got my hair all messy, but it's kind of a lazy day around here. But I wanted to show you that I'm making sauerkraut, and I got some some purple cabbage because that's all the Amish had. And I got the first batch in here, and then I got this all shredded, and I'm massaging it with salt, and I'm even pounding it with my thing that I use to roll out my dough is my rolling pin. And this isn't going to be a whole tutorial on making sauerkraut. I just want to show you that I do make sauerkraut, and sometimes I've made it in the big crock that I got some years ago, but I can also put it in glass jars, and that's what I'm going to do with this batch. And I got all the cabbage that I wanted in here, and then I put a SCOBY from my vinegar making on the top so that no bacteria would grow, the wrong kind of bacteria or mold would grow in it. And then I will cover it. There's my old SCOBYs that I keep in the refrigerator in vinegar. And then I will cover it with a filter, and I'll put a rubber band around it and let it set for a couple weeks on my counter, and then I'll try it out, and then I'll put it in the refrigerator without the SCOBY, and then it will further ferment, and it'll be sauerkraut. Okay, I don't know if I'll get this in there, but I got some herbs that I'm bringing in today because it's going to freeze tonight, and that's I'll show them to you individually. Let's see if I can. There they are. There's all what I got so far, and I'd like to show you individually what they are. But this is a bag of fennel leaves that I had out there, and this is and I like to use that in soup, and you can make some tea out of it. And then I'll put that over here. And then this is a whole big bag of cauliflower leaves. The cauliflower didn't come up in there, but all the leaves can be used, and because they're edible, and there's no reason to throw them away. So I've got them here. I don't know if I'm gonna make sauerkraut out of it or what I'm gonna do with it, but I wanted to get in before it freezes tonight. And that's a whole big bag of that. They're stuffed in there. And then I got a bag of mullein leaves to make some tea out of. And that's good for respiratory. And then I got some, let's see, this is, what is that? It's, spearmint. It's spearmint. So that, I don't have very much of that. It just didn't, we burned down a bunch when I had a fire when we had a campfire, because we had some wood that we wanted to burn down, and we put it on where it had got around a stump, and then, but it'll come back. That's the spearmint. And then I got some oregano. I got that a lot of places outside, and I don't have to bring it in that much, but I just wanted to show you that I have oregano, and it always comes in handy for different things, and it's good. I think I've made some oil out of it. I've made some garlic mullein oil for my ears, for earache, and it helps with your ears a lot. And then I have some catnip. I remember my grandma told me, be sure to have catnip. So that's around different places. It's growing volunteers. So that's what I have right now, and I'm gonna get busy on it. And thank you. While I was outside and doing stuff, I just thought I would dig up some horseradish, and I'll have to, clean it off and everything, but this is some of my horseradish I got, and I'm hoping to make my horseradish a bigger plot. Somebody up the road at one of the orchards, they sell it all the time and make pretty good money on it, so I'd like to get enough to sell, if people got money to buy it. I just think these chicken feet are just great. They're kind of creepy, but kind of great. Kind of neat looking. Oh my goodness, look at those feet. They look like dinosaur feet, really. I mean, they are supposed to be like little dinosaurs. I guess somebody got the idea. They're leopard-like, or lizard-like. That's what they are. They're lizard-like. That's my creepy little feet. Long nails. That's what scratches up everything. Look at those. Earth, water, air, and fire. The moon is just now starting to peek out. It will come up over there. And I just wanted to get a picture of it through those trees, but it doesn't come up, it doesn't show up as good as I would like, but you can see it when I'm moving. I gotta be careful down here because I'm moving on the rocks. Maybe you can see it better over here, but I don't know. There's so many trees up here. Traffic's out there. I got a cliff up here on my, you can see I have a cliff. I don't know, it's pretty dark out now, but it's getting to be, it's dusk, past dusk or something like that, but it's pretty dark down there, so I'll have to show you sometime in the light. The trees are... Okay, I'll let it alone for now. It's starting to get cold out here a little bit more. Last night they said it was going to freeze and it didn't. It said it felt like 19 below, or 19 straight across, 19 degrees. But I had the other day that my friend came out with her sons again, and they cut down some more wood, so all that was covering up that space that I have out here. It's they stacked it up here, and they're not done yet, but they just came out and they done a little bit of wood. They're gonna do some more, but it looks nice, and I thank him for that. And I don't have any gloves on right now, and I can feel the cold on my hands. But this is what I was trying to show you the other day. That's the cliff that I have in the daylight. You can see more of it down here, but I don't want to get too close to the edge but there it is. It's down there. And I got some, I don't know if you can see through the trees, but I got some rock down there. Let's see. I don't know if you can see. Across there from here, there's a highway out there. It's pretty nice to have some woods between me and the highway. And my neighbors over there, they got pretty much what they got the same as I do, But anyway, tonight, I believe it's going to be colder than it was last night, and so I'll be ready for it. I'm just gonna be in the... I got the front part of the house closed off, and I'll just be in the back part. And so anyway, that's all I wanted to show you today out here.